Hey everybody, what's up? It's your girl BondyBlue, and I am back. I am back for the very first episode of the Now That We Are Grown podcast, where I talk to some of my friends, some of my acquaintances, and hopefully some new friends along the way about their lives and how they feel about certain things in their lives now that we're grown. And of course, I'll be sure to ask them what their favorite movie from back in the day was, because I feel like that always has some type of link to the person. But with that being said, for this very first episode, I would ask that you guys forgive me for the audio issues. There is a echo that is happening whenever I speak. This was merely a mic issue, and hopefully you guys will still be able to enjoy the podcast nonetheless. Next time this will not be an issue, I promise, so please forgive me for it. And so without any further ado, Now That We're Grown, the podcast, episode 1, featuring XORanata. Welcome everybody to the Now That We're Grown podcast. This is an extension of what I'm doing on YouTube with the movies, the old school movies. And what I figured out is that whatever your favorite old school movie is, it usually is reflective of your life in some way. And this is my friend Renata,
Hey,
XORanata on
y'all.
Instagram.
XORanata on Instagram. Hey, my loves.
Okay, and she was one of the very first people that I wanted to do this with because she and I had a great conversation, and she is also going through a transitional phase in her life at 30 something.
Yes.
And now that we're grown, we feel differently about things.
Girl, listen, like, not even like being grown, like from 2020 to today. Like,
It's different.
It's really just, it's so different.
It is. So, with that being said, just so everybody can get the little backstory on why we're doing this. But once again, welcome to the Now That We're Grown podcast, where we're going to discuss our outlooks on life and how that has changed now that we're grown, especially coming from where we come from, New Orleans, okay? Where low vibration is a safe space.
Girl.
And that's how I'm going to be introing this from now on, because like the very first thing when I was sitting up to, write it all out and produce this show was like, we come from a place where people are expected to, like, you drink, you party, but it's also a place where that low vibration is expected.
Yes.
And it seeps into all of the other places, the politics, the schools, the everything that we have going on in New Orleans. Like, that kind of negativity, low vibrational energy is somewhere around.
Mm-hmm.
So I feel like we should start having conversations about how some of this shit is just out of pocket a little bit that we've experienced, and we're trying to be different. We're trying to evolve.
Exactly.
Okay? So, starting off, I want to ask you your opinion on this story that I just saw.
All right, let's go.
All right. So, did you see Lil Wayne and him talking about how basically the reason why he had Reginae was because his mom told him after he came off tour that she was lonely. His father had passed away, and she felt lonely, so she wanted him at 14 to go and have a child so she wouldn't be lonely down to the house.
Girl.
And you remember, like, Toya was 15, Wayne was like 15, they were around that age when they had Reginae, and that's a very young age for anybody to have a child. So I'm just wondering, is that some New Orleans shit? Like, what is that about?
Let me tell you. That is some New Orleans shit.
Okay.
That is some New Orleans shit. Because I was recently having that conversation. So at, let's see, 24, 25, a person I'm close with was like, you know what, I'm having a baby. And at that age, it's like, how do I break this to my parents? At that, kind of big age.
Right.
And so baby daddy was like, oh, my parents been wanting me to do this since high school. They been wanting me to have a baby. And I'm like, okay. Like,
What's that about?
I have no idea what that's about.
I'm very curious to know. I feel like a lot of it feels like ignorance. It feels like a lot of ignorant shit going on.
It's just like, get you a weighted blanket. But a baby?
Girl.
Get a weighted blanket.
Blanket.
But a baby?
Girl, a hobby. Hot yoga. Get you a man. Maybe.
Okay.
Okay.
Definitely a man. But you want me to have a baby? Okay, it's like surrogate. Be my surrogate. I need my child to be my surrogate.
When he's 14, you're not even done raising him yet.
Exactly.
Girl. But that's the type of stuff, like, there are a lot of backwards mindsets, that people have. And I feel like, we got into this era of not wanting to shame people. And it's not that I want to shame people, because I'm not in the business of shaming anybody. You know what I'm saying? I'm no moral superiority or nothing like that. But some of that shit sound crazy.
Yeah, we gotta bring bullying back. I know it sound bad. Some people gotta be bullied.
Just a little bit. Just a little bit. Like, we don't need y'all to be beating up the little girls on the bus. Like I saw that child doing. Oh, girl, when I say I would go to jail.
Give me maximum security prison. Not like that. But bring bullying back in moderation. Check people. Like, no, you sound stupid.
You sound crazy. And you know what else, though? I think the internet has, like, emboldened people who say crazy things to, like, feel like, oh, there are people who agree with me, so my opinion is valid. It's like, no.
No. We don't support this message.
We don't support this message at all. So, you are the sex lady. That's what
sex talk lady. Yes, I am.
Lady. Okay, so
sexpert.
Quick 5 questions.
All right, give it to me.
Favorite position?
Girl, give me doggy. Back shots. Back shots.
I agree. Favorite toy?
Oh, girl. You know what? So the rose has been getting a lot of play.
Okay.
I love a good toy. My first toy was the rabbit. Shout out to the rabbit. But there's this new thing.
Is that the one that goes in and out?
It's a girl, so it got the shaft that rotate, and then it got the ears that.
Yes. I'm just now getting into actual dildos. Because for some reason, like, I guess, you know why? I guess because I started off my sexual experiences with women. Mm-hmm. You kind of feel like, I'm not going to cheat. We're going to make this work without that. Like, that's how your mind was when we were younger. Of course, now that we older, it's like, listen, I've got dick at this point. So, girl, we're going to have to work something out. Mm-hmm. But I just tried it. For the first time in years, I got Shop SEDURE. Everybody shopsedure.com. There's a link down below in the description box where you can get you a little sex toy, Shop SEDURE. But yes, glass, double-sided.
Girl, they fucking wine with the ridges.
Yes,
with the ridges.
And then it's like bubbles on one side, and then like the ridges on the other side. And I was just like, first of all, I was like, you know how when people be telling you, you'll be snatching souls and shit. I get it now.
Yes.
Because that thing went in there and it was like suction cup, bitch. It was like, I was like, I don't know if I should pull it out. Like, I'm scared.
Girl, listen. A glass, like the little glass wine, like I said, with the ridges. That shit is life changing.
It really was. It was good. I was like, oh my God, I enjoyed this. Okay, that's a check mark. I like that. Okay. So you said the rabbit. Is there a new one that you really like?
There is. So it's like clitoral stimulation, because that's my go-to all the time. Like, but it's like clitoral stimulation, but also anal stimulation.
Really?
Yes.
We gotta talk about that, because the ass eating is all the rage these days.
Yeah.
The ass eating is all the rage. I didn't get it per se. We'll have a conversation.
I don't hate it. I mean, but if you're gonna do it, then I'm not gonna tell you no.
I like the enthusiasm behind it. Like, if you want to do it, you want to do it bad, and I just like the overall enthusiasm.
Yeah, be excited about it. Mm-hmm. Yes,
that's the only way I'm gonna be excited about it, because the exciting part is in the front. So
exactly. So but having the front and like just a little, because it's not inserted.
No,
it's not inserted. It's just
like the yes.
Yes.
I'm like, girl, you have to send me a link. I'm gonna see if we can get that on Shop SEDURE, girl, because that sounds nice. Okay, kink. What's your kink?
Dime. I'm a dime all day and tomorrow.
In real life, right?
In real life. Yes.
Oh my God. I have some people I want to introduce you to.
For real? They gonna let me step on them?
Oh, girl, yes. Well, first of all, I know some guys that are doms, and, but, it's like a community. So, like, I feel like, actually, like, one of my homeboys, he's a dom himself. And it's crazy because he tells me about the stuff, and I'm like, oh, really? that what you do? He like tied the girls to a table. One of his partners like put a girl in a cage one time. It's like a whole situation.
Yes.
But
I'm
I love. I found
excited.
out that I'm a switch. They said I'm both, and
I
I'm
could,
like,
you know what?
yeah, yeah, pretty much.
I get that.
Yeah.
I like the switch.
So, what is like the craziest thing you've done in the dom position?
Like, I like to go full force. Like, if that's, and everybody's not into that.
Right.
So you just really have to gauge. But if you're gonna let me step on you, like if you're gonna let me curse you out, if you're gonna let me hit you, you're gonna let me like do what I wanna do to you, like I love that shit.
That's what my friend says. He
I
said that's
love
the
that
thing.
shit.
Like that you'll let me do whatever I want to do. To
Like,
you.
girl, especially like for me, if it's a little bitty ass me, and then it's just this big, oversized, grown ass man, and I'm like
Yeah,
doing
get on
whatever
your
I
knees.
want to, like do
Yeah.
whatever I see.
Yes.
That just sends me through the roof.
I feel you on that. I like that. So, what is your biggest turn on?
My biggest turn on, I feel like for me, a lot of sex starts outside the bedroom.
Yes.
Like, you just gotta be giving it to me all throughout the day consistently. But like a non-physical turn on is just really, like I just said, a motherfucker that's gonna do what I say. Like, do what I say, and you got me open.
Okay.
You got me open. You know,
I like
like that's my turn on. Like somebody that's real gang about me.
I like that. Because I feel you on that. Like, and people don't understand that you could not have that.
No, for real.
You could really not have that. And which, we'll get into that. Last book you read.
What was the last book I read? It Starts With Us, which is a sequel to It Ends With Us.
Okay. What's that about?
So, girl, it's about this girl. It sounds real bad when I explain it because people keep asking me what it's about, and it just sounds terrible when I explain it. So it's about this girl. She lives in Boston, and she's an adult, but she had this homeless boy that she was fucking when she was small. They broke up because he was homeless and he was sneaking in her room. Her parents caught him in the room, fucked him up. He moved away. And so, like, she kept living her life, but she always wondered about this homeless boy. She ended up marrying a doctor, but then a doctor was beating her ass. Then she ran back across the homeless boy, but obviously he ain't homeless no more. He got his shit together.
Okay.
So, yeah.
All right,
So
girl. You
then
got to
it
send me
started
the info
fucking.
on that. Because
Yeah.
that sounds good.
Yeah.
Is it an erotica?
It's not an erotica.
Okay.
And I wish they would have like explained the sexual scenes more in detail. They didn't.
Okay.
But
girl, do you remember when I used to have the book?
Girl,
Did you read
wait.
my book back in Easton that I used to write?
the sex books, the little
Yes.
stories.
Yes.
Girl, I
Do you
feel like I
remember?
vaguely remember. I feel like I vaguely remember. You gonna bring them back?
I think I should. I've
I
been
feel
thinking
like you
about
should
that.
do like a little Kaya sexy reading. You know, he
should.
opened her legs and proceeded. Like I could totally see that for you.
It's gonna have to be a lot of. It's gonna have to be a lot of opening up about some things in order for us to get to that place, but we'll get there eventually. I'm sure.
Yeah, I could. That's a bag for you.
It is, and it's something that I'm into. Like I personally have no shame when it comes to stuff like that. But when you have other people that you're doing this shit with, you always have to be like mindful about how they feel about things. So that's always the space that I'm in. But anyway, favorite song.
My favorite song in the whole wide world, like it has never changed. It's always been "Digging on You" by TLC.
Oh,
That is my all-time favorite song in the world.
Sunday afternoon, you were there, so was I.
Like that is my shit.
Girl, I love that one. Yes, that's one of my favorites for real.
That is my all-time favorite song in the world since when that album dropped, 1994, 1995, because my mama had the CD. And
yes,
it
that
has
was the red CD, girl.
Yes,
that was the red cover.
crazy, sexy, cool. Like
yes,
that has always been. I ain't never have a favorite song like that's my favorite song.
All right, I love that. That's a good one. So I asked you before, what was your favorite movie? Because I actually did a review for The Wood, Now That We're Grown. Y'all check out my series on YouTube, Now That We're Grown. We talk about old movies and, the perspective of now that we're grown. So The Wood was basically three friends that grew up, and one of them was about to get married but had cold feet. So they go and reminisce on the past before he jumps the broom. What about that did you connect with the most?
At my big age, I could see why he had cold feet.
Why you say that?
Cause marriage is a motherfucker.
Who you telling?
Cause marriage is a motherfucker. I could see why he had cold feet. But I think the part that I connected with honestly the most is just the reminiscing. Like something about me just feels very connected to younger versions of myself, different versions of myself. So I'm always in a reflective state.
I love
Like I'm always, how would 14-year-old Renata feel? How would 7-year-old Renata feel? Like how would 22-year-old like Renata feel?
That's so special that you already do that. I feel like I'm just now at this age finding a way to bring the high school version of Brittany to this time. I feel like I had left her back there a little bit. Like that version of myself that was doing everything, that was always at a dance, that was always a part of something. Like that version of myself, I feel like I definitely left that person back there somewhere.
Why you feel like you had to leave that person?
I don't think it was that I had to, but you know, Katrina happened and my dad got sick, and you know, it was just life was just happening so quickly. It felt like there was no room to dream as much.
Yeah.
It needed, things needed to be supported basically, like especially after you lose everything. It's like you have to get foundation. I have to be, you know, I have to get a job where I can take care of myself. And of course, like I worked in the news business, so I was always doing something that was close to what I wanted to do. But the fun part of me, the fully bisexual version of myself, like I say that, but it wasn't until I was around my friend, you know, that I really was like, damn, I forgot about this version of myself.
Yes.
So I feel like I'm coming into that, bringing that version of myself up to this age, and I love it because that version of myself deserved way more than she got.
Absolutely. And that's honestly the sole reason why I stay in that reflective state. Just because I know you know me, like I've always been fun and whimsical and just a very big personality. And I feel like life, you know, becoming a mom, getting married, I felt like I had to tuck that in. Society told me you need to chill out on that shit. You gotta grow up.
Be more
And
realistic.
yeah. And so like having these astronomical dreams and just having this larger than life personality, it's like society said there's no room for that no more. You gotta put that up. And it's like, no, I owe it to her to see this shit through.
Yes.
Like I owe it to that girl, cause yeah.
What was your childhood like?
You know what? I'm a Capricorn.
Okay.
And I always hear Capricorns are never children.
I can understand
always
why.
hear that Capricorns are never children. And hearing that, like, as an adult, I'm like, you know what? I could see that because there was a lot of shit. I guess just how I grew up, where I grew up, growing up uptown, I saw a lot of shit very early. So I was never really green.
Right.
I was never really green. So I just always had like this serious side of me. But also, again, having this fun and whimsical side, it just was like a balance. It was like a switch. Like, because there would be this really fun Renata, loud, outgoing, everybody know me, everybody sees me, and I'm just, hey, y'all, hey, cousin, blah, blah, blah.
Zora.
Yes.
Listen.
But then, you know, it switches, and it's like, okay, so shit is still very real at home. Shit is still very real in the neighborhood. Like, I'm seeing drug transactions. I'm seeing this. So I was taught at a very early age to keep my head on a swivel.
Yes.
So
head on a swivel, growing up in Uptown. Okay, so if y'all don't know, like, no disrespect, but the Uptown girls are hard.
yeah.
Okay, now
We'll cut the fuck out you.
okay, look, listen. I grew up in the East, but by way of the 7th Ward. What I mean by that is I lived in the East, but my mama owned her shop in the 7th Ward, so that's where I was. You know what I'm saying? But I still felt like you would never know that.
Yeah.
You would never know. Like, you was absolutely giving Jen silly.
Really?
Girl, you absolutely.
That's the first time I heard that.
Really?
Dead ass. Because, like, everybody will be like, where you from? And I'm like, uptown. They were like, you know what? You sure do give uptown. I'm like, so what you saying? Like, I give project,
Right?
bitch.
Like, with the,
Like,
bitch,
cause now I
like,
feel
what you
played.
saying?
So what you saying?
Yeah, no, I'm gonna give it just a friend. I
All
don't
right.
even know what they talking about.
All right.
So when I ask you about your childhood, what was like your parental situation like?
Girl. Okay, so my parents were married. I had a two-parent household. And my parents got divorced and they still stayed in the same household until like they was like, you know what, this ain't working for real this time. And like the kids gotta just understand at this point. So probably as I was older, maybe about 12, 13 years old, then at that point they split. We lived in two separate households. But
Did y'all still have that relationship once that happened?
you know what? I feel like, and my dad died about 5 years ago. A part of me in my mind felt like he not there. You know, he wasn't there. Like I can't call him for shit or. But seeing a full picture, like after he died, my dad was never really an absent dad.
Okay.
Like he was like thinking back, he was a person that I talked to all the time. Like he called me every day. Sometimes I didn't want to talk because I had already had this picture in my mind that you don't really take care of me.
Right.
Like I can't call you and ask you for whatever. Like you don't take care of me
Why you felt like that?
because he wasn't there like financially, and
Okay.
I felt like that's what I need at this point.
Okay.
So at that point, I felt like, you know, we don't really have a good relationship. Like, you don't really throw me out. Like, if I need something, like, I really can't come to you to get it. But
He was there
he was,
emotionally.
yeah, I won't even say emotionally. Well, you know what? I'll give him that. I'll give him that. He would call, check on me, see how my day was, you know, ask about my daughter. But everything else, like I said, my mind was conditioned to feel like if you're not taking care of me financially, then you ain't doing shit for me. You don't really fuck with me.
And so let's transition to your 20s. So this is when you got with your husband, correct?
Girl, so I had been with him since I was 16.
Run it.
So after Katrina, you know how this is. Like everybody's all spread apart.
Yes.
Everybody's so. Him and my good friends at the time were related. So, you know, she got her little pictures and her photo albums, and he like, man, who that is in a red dress? And so she was like, you know, that's my friend Tiny. That's when I was small, and I ain't that small no more. But he was like,
Girl, listen.
he was like, that's my friend. She was like, that's my friend Tiny. So he was like, man, throw me on her. So like since then, you know, and I'm still young. Like I was the popping ass chick in Houston, so like the guys was there. Like
Right.
they was in abundance. But
Okay,
he
I'm
was
gonna lose in
different.
abundance.
But he was different because he from the country. Like he not from
Okay.
here. He's not like nobody I've ever been, you know, used to dealing with.
Okay.
So like that summer after I graduated, we just was thick as thieves. Like I left Texas, I came back down here, and we was just locked in ever since.
Okay. So what made you wanna marry him and have kids with him?
Girl, we about okay. So I'm gonna be honest. We about to go there.
We about to go there. I hope you know.
So I'm gonna be honest. I never wanted a husband or kids. Like that just was not on my bingo card for my life. I
Okay.
wanted to like before Katrina, my plan was like I was applying to Columbia.
Okay.
I was applying to Columbia. Like I wanted to go to New York and live my best Carrie Bradshaw life.
You and me both. Listen, no, I wanted to go to NYU. It was serious. I went and auditioned and everything.
Like that's what I wanted. Like I wanted to really pursue journalism. Columbia had a great journalism program. That's what I wanted to do. Like I didn't want no man. I didn't want no kids. Like I ain't never be bothered with family kids. I was never the type. Oh, let me hold your baby. No, you hold your own baby.
You ain't never lied. You and me both, girl.
Oh, y'all, baby. Like, I didn't want that. We kind of got locked in, and he said that was something that he wanted. And because it took me some time to get pregnant, I was like, oh shit, I probably can't even have kids. And so then that kind of made me want kids.
Okay.
And so we got pregnant, and I was like,
How
all
old were
right,
you?
cool. How old was I? I was maybe 23 at the time.
Okay.
I was 23, and so I got pregnant. Girl, and he put me through the fucking ringer. Girl, I was going out like I'm at home sick as a dog, like just everything. And so I ended up losing that baby. I ended up losing that baby. I was about 7 months pregnant when I lost that baby. So that was a hard loss. Like, being that far along, like
Yes.
almost to the finish line. Like, that was a really hard loss. And I went through like a lot of depression. And we kind of fickle, we was like just off and on from there. But fast forward, like the next year, I ended up getting pregnant again. So, you know, older people, religious people, his grandma was like, yeah, because y'all lost that baby, because y'all had that baby out of wedlock. Me personally, I don't give a fuck.
Girl, why the fuck would they say that?
Girl, I'm like, I don't give a fuck about none of that. And I told him that. I'm like, listen, none of that matters to me. Like, I'm not a traditionalist like that. Like, I don't care about the rules.
Yes.
Fuck the rules.
Essentially.
So I'm like, I don't really care about that. But he was like, let's get married. And you know what? I'm not gonna even give him that. We had got engaged early 2012, and I lost my baby. So we got engaged before I got pregnant the first time.
Okay.
But we got engaged, and we ain't never planned a wedding. We ain't never look at a wedding venue. I felt like I was gonna probably be like Lala and just engaged for all the years. And I was okay with that.
I mean, listen, ain't nothing wrong with it.
I was okay with that. We ain't never planned a wedding, like look at a venue. And when I brought up the wedding, like when I started kind of getting excited about it, I'm like, I want the French Quarter wedding. I want wedding pictures on a streetcar. Like I wanted the quintessential New Orleans one. He's like, yeah, no, I'm not doing that. So I'm like, whatever. So when he was like, okay, let's get married for real, it was very quick. It was very boom, boom, boom. Go pick out a dress. Like I went and got a $99 dress off the rack at Davis Bridal. Like it honestly was no thought put into it. I felt like he was calling my bluff. I was calling his bluff. And I'm like, oh shit. All right, we're doing this for real.
Okay. And so you get married, and the relationship is
what it's been. And so what it's been is, I neglected to mention, he's always worked the week.
okay.
He's always worked the week. So, like, I'm with him, but it's long distance. Like, he's at work probably about maybe an hour or two away, but he got to stay at work. So, I would see him 1 week out the month. 1 week out the month, maybe an occasional 24 hours.
Okay.
I was always by myself, and when I had my baby, it was me and my baby, thick as thieves.
So did y'all get married like before the baby came? Or before, so
I was pregnant.
right. So the first baby happened, not the first pregnancy, but the first baby happened, and y'all were married.
Yes.
And since then, y'all have had two more, correct?
I got one more.
One
I got
more.
the boy and a girl.
You got a boy and a girl. Okay, it's just two. Okay. Adorable children. So adorable.
Did they?
Yes, you did. You did. It's so adorable. No, the Instagram, you guys, y'all don't even understand. It's the Instagram of it all. So I really wanted to get into, for you as a woman, what changed? Because if the relationship was always the same, if you always felt like he was never giving you enough of what you needed, why did you stay for as long as you stayed?
Like I said, I just kind of had this concept just based on what society was like. Make your husband happy, make your kids happy. That was my reason, that became my reason to exist. And everything was about him. Every single thing in my life was about him. I existed to make sure he was good. Like whatever endeavors he wanted to do. Oh, I want to start this business. Okay, boom. Let's write up a business plan. Let's get you some grants. Let's get the funding. Here's some money. Like whatever you need, here you go. And when I had my kids, it was the same thing. Not to mention, he also had like these very old school, you know, like just upbringing, whereas the woman is supposed to be in the home, and you're supposed to like not go out. A good woman stays home because all your friends single and you not single, so you don't need to be going out. So I just feel like I settled into a very safe life, and even though it was safe, it just didn't seem like me. I didn't feel like I had space to really be myself. All I did was take on this identity as just a mom and a wife.
So when did you get tired?
So when I had my son, in 2018, I had my son, and this was like right after my dad died. Had my son, and I'm working, and I got two young kids because they're 4 years apart. So my daughter is old enough where she's independent, but still young enough where she still needs me. So trying to take care of these two young kids, I was driving like 250 miles a week, like commuting back and forth to work, from work to daycare to home. They was all in different areas. Jeez. So like doing all of that and not having no help at home because of course he's working away.
Okay.
I'm like, so boom, at this point I'm outnumbered. I really need you to be more present. Because even when he wasn't working, he also wasn't with us. Like he was invested in a business or just kind of doing what he wanted to do, more or less. I'm not gonna say he was fucking around because maybe he was, maybe he wasn't. I never even give him that. But being at home wasn't a priority. Okay. And so I'm like, I'm outnumbered at this point. Like, I need you to step up. Right. His response was, no, you got it. You doing when I'm not here. Like, you hold it down when I'm not here. You got it. You be all right. So I was like in this deep ass depression. Like, you know what? I feel like I just need to go ahead and like just die out of spite.
Die out of spite?
Out of spite. Die out of spite, girl.
I can understand that.
Like, you know what?
Y'all
you gonna have to figure it.
Yeah, you don't need me. You got it.
Right. Figure it out.
Yeah.
Figure it out.
Did you try?
I absolutely tried. Wait. To die?
Yes.
Oh, no. I thought about it. I Googled some shit.
Okay.
But I can't be Googling shit like that, girl. Because, they be watching phones.
They do be watching phones.
But no, I didn't. But I did tell him, I'm like, I'm not okay. I am not okay. And he just wasn't getting it. He wasn't understanding. And so instead of going through with like whatever suicidal thoughts I was having, I'm like, you need to get to the root of what makes you happy. Figure out what the fuck makes you happy outside of them three people and do that shit. Yes. Because a whole ass person existed before you knew either one of them. I tell my kids all the time, we kind of just met. Y'all don't really know me like that. Y'all been knowing me for like 4 years, 9 years. Yeah. I've been knowing me a long ass time.
Y'all don't know me like that.
Y'all don't know me like that.
I feel that. But I like that.
Yeah, I gotta let them know. Keep them in line. Y'all don't know me. Y'all know y'all mama. Y'all don't know Tiny at all.
Okay. So, you want to leave. How long does it take you to leave?
Girl, it's a long ass time. It's a long ass time because it just was some shit that was happening because I gave him opportunities. When I tapped into the part of, when I got to the point of, Renata, you need to figure out what makes you happy and do that and pursue that. When I started doing that, that's when like so many doors started opening. Like I started my platform. I started doing my talk show. I started doing like all the things, speaking engagements, everything. He hated it. It's like, how dare, like you don't have, his thought was, you don't really have room to love you and me. Like, if you pouring all of this into yourself, where does that leave me? And I'm like, my nigga, I've been giving you me for years.
Too long.
Too long. And I'm like, and all I really wanted from him was to get a little bit of that back. Support me like I've been supporting you.
Right.
And it just was very negative on that end. I honestly did not think support for me would be a deal breaker. But that was like it for me. Like if you're purposely sabotaging the shit I have going on, like no, I'm not gonna keep the kids while you go to your meetings. No, I'm not gonna like keep the kids quiet while you do your lives. I'm gonna let them bust in the room and keep crying and keep knocking on the door and I'm like, you purposely sabotaging me at this point. So leaving and still like leaving is it was some time. So I'll say from like 2020, like is when like the thick of it when I really said, you know what, I'm not happy, I can't. And I asked for counseling. I'm like, let's go to counseling, let's pray together, let's do whatever. And he like, nope, I'm happy. Motherfucker, you should be. Why wouldn't you be?
Why wouldn't you be?
Why wouldn't you be happy? I would be happy if I was you. If I had somebody like really pouring into you and supporting you and
you
giving
don't
you,
have to give anything back.
and you don't
really
have to give anything back.
It's crazy how I feel like we do that without even thinking about it.
Right.
Like that, giving your life over to somebody, like that's what you're supposed to do. When really it is like, no, like it's my fucking life.
Exactly.
Like it's my life. Like when I'm
exactly.
going, it's gonna be me. It's not gonna be you. So why do I give this life over to you? Like they really do, I think, sell us on what we're supposed to be as women. And a lot of what you're supposed to be as a woman is giving your power, your agency, your dreams away to children and some man, even if that's not what you started out wanting. Because when you said you didn't want marriage at the beginning, girl, I did not either. But it was like you locked in.
Yeah.
So what else you gonna do? You gonna be in a long-term relationship for a decade? Ain't nobody trying to do that.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? But now that I'm married, I feel like I could have.
Yes.
Like, and that's why I'm always telling, women who are so, I hate to say it like this, but thirsty to get married. It's just like, I don't know what you think marriage is, but it's not happily ever after.
No.
If the relationship was fucked up before the marriage, it's gonna be fucked up during and after. Like it's just, it is what it is. So how did you find balance in the midst of being a mom and also pouring into someone that's not pouring into you? How do you find the balance in that?
I mean, honestly, there is no balance in that. Because if you're pouring, obviously, like this side gonna get heavy. This side, like there is no balance to somebody that's not pouring into you. What I had to do was literally take the balance. I had to take it.
Reclaim your time.
Yeah, I had to reclaim my time. I can remember during the pandemic, like running away from my house. Like he was in a shower.
Like
Girl, yes. Like I'm already furloughed from my job. I'm in the house with these kids all day. I'm like, I just need a minute to go ride my fucking bike. Why you gotta go do this and that, and I'm not watching no. I'm gonna show you, girl. As soon as he jumped in that shower, I jumped in my car, and my kids not like lil. They was in the house with their daddy. I fucking love.
Yeah.
I love. And that for me, and that time stands out so much because that to me was symbolic of you really have to take what the fuck you want. Because me being, giving somebody the courtesy to think that, oh, well, maybe if I, give you the space, then you're just gonna recognize and see that I'm overwhelmed, I'm tired, I really need
asking for permission.
Yeah.
Really. Asking for permission to do whatever you want to do. And really, you just do whatever you want to do. And if you're mad about it, then you'll get over it.
You'll get over it. But at this point, I'm fine because I don't roll my bike.
Okay. I didn't got my moments to ride my bike. Okay. So what did, like, when you said you poured into yourself, because I remember we talked about that, all the different ways that you started to pour into yourself. Give us some examples.
So honestly, the first thing was really taking that time out to figure out who I was. Because when you're in a situation like that, when it's just your mom and wife for so long, you kind of lose your identity in it. So I had to really figure out who I was and get back to me. What did you enjoy? Like, what do you enjoy? What makes you happy? And I found out that I enjoy being in nature. I enjoy being outside. I enjoy speaking. I enjoy being around people. I enjoy, buying myself shit.
Yes.
And
you shop on Shein?
Okay. Okay. So I did all of that. Like I got to a place where it's like everything that I wanted from him, like I started to do for myself. There is a whole different topic to that though. Because I won't say what I was doing was fully conducive.
How so?
because it's almost in a sense like I was love bombing myself.
Why is that a bad thing?
Because typically with love bombing, like if you start to date a new person and they just, I'm gonna take you out to eat, I'm gonna buy you this, I'm gonna do this, this and that, I'm gonna treat you well, I'm gonna buy you flowers, I'm gonna run you a bath, and I'm gonna do all of this shit. But when conflict arises, if a person doesn't really get to know you, conflict happens and it's like, what do? You throw more shit at it. Here's more flowers. Here's more.
When that can't really fix the issue.
That doesn't really fix the issue. And so what I realized is I was doing that to myself because, of course, internet is pushing right now self-care, self-love, love on yourself, take a bath, go get your nails done, buy yourself flowers, do this. And so I was doing all of those things. But at the root of it, I still had a lot of fucked up shit going on. And so until I started like doing that, I think that's the real self-love. Like going my ass to therapy.
Okay.
Like doing yoga, working out, like going to the fucking chiropractor. Like just the really shit to get to the root of the issues. Cause it's only so much, like it's only so many baths you can take and still be fucked up. There's only so many flowers you can buy and still be fucked up.
Right.
So I think it's just a balance of, yes, do it, like get the self-love, love on yourself, treat yourself well, but also do the work.
Yes.
Also
just put
do the
pretty
work.
over it.
Exactly.
You gotta really dig deep and ugly cry in the shower sometimes,
Yes.
bitch. After a good therapy session and journaling and shit. I got
Oh
a whole
yeah,
little corner
girl,
in
that's
house.
my thing. I don't know how that wasn't at the top of my list. I've been journaling since I was 6. I journal consistently to this day. So that's also another thing.
Yes.
But tell me
love
about this
journaling.
corner.
It was being pushed on me to create an altar. So there's this little corner in my studio where I shoot my lives and stuff. And there's a little pillow on the ground, and I got my little, my little altar and my candles, and then my little, box that has all the stuff that I need in it. And I light my incense and give me a joint and make my coffee. And this little corner is like right in front of the window in the front of my house. So whatever the weather is, I can just look up at the sky in that moment. So I sit there and I have my jazz music on or whatever I'm listening to, child, the sound bowls, whatever. And I'm either asking myself questions, like in journal form, like ask question, and then after I sit there for a minute, usually the answer will come to me.
Right.
So I do that a lot. I check in with myself, which has been something that I've really gotten good at, which is checking in, okay, so how do you feel right now? What do you want to do right now? Because you really get so far removed from checking in with yourself.
Absolutely.
Especially for me. I'm a people pleaser. So, especially when you have like a husband that's a sweetheart and works really hard and all of that, it feels like you're supposed to be giving so much of yourself up to him because, oh, look, he's deserving.
Right.
But at the same time, it's still not healthy because then what does that leave you with? And if you're always pouring into somebody's cup and they never really have to pour that much into yours, what ends up happening? Eventually you have this unbalance where you're with this lack and they're with a surplus. And,
exactly.
It definitely was like it's still a transitional phase for both of us trying to figure out how to be together in this phase of life, which is different because now, like you said, I'm reclaiming my time. I'm not asking for your permission. I'm not circling the thoughts about what you want every second of every day around in my head the way I did. And it really took me having a moment where I was like, I did shrooms. And I was like, I really don't know how I feel. Yeah, I went on a trip, like a long trip. And all I could think about was him and how he felt. And I was like, oh my God, like you don't even know how you felt on the shrooms.
Exactly.
Like, what the fuck? You had a whole high. Don't know how you felt. But you know how he felt. You were worried about him. And that is when I figured it out for myself. Like, that's what's wrong. You don't even know you anymore.
Exactly.
Like, what does Brittany like to do now? And it's like a lot of the things that Brittany used to do when she was in high school. But she, that's why I'm trying to get into doing more things. Now I'm doing the Forestry Parade this year. Like, I'm trying to do more, doing this.
Yes.
Like, and then reaching out to you and to Brittany and hopefully getting Cassie up here and, some of the other homegirls who have good stories to tell. But a part of me getting back to me was also reaching out.
Absolutely, for sure.
Yeah.
Like, that's huge. Like, just really learning how to lean on community. Because
Yes.
our minds will like mind fuck us into believing that we all we got, or leaning on our spouse like this is the only person that's there for me. And
And
it's like, no, you
no.
got so many people in your life that love you and fuck with you.
And you need that because you can't
Yes.
get everything from one person, and you really shouldn't be trying to get everything
Exactly.
from one
That
person.
that's a
That's too
huge
much.
burden. That's
Yes.
a huge burden.
Absolutely. So, are you divorced yet?
No.
Are you going through it though? Like the process?
We are like officially separated. Like we are living in separate houses now, and that's still very new. So it's a bittersweet moment because I love my new space. Love, love, love my new space. But just still trying to figure out like, damn, like my thoughts at this point aren't really for me as much as they are for my kids. And it's like I'm gonna step every time regardless. And what I realized, what my kids made me realize is their dad and I were in a fight, and I broke down, and I don't cry in front of my kids. So I went in the closet and I just like lost my shit. And so my kids, they came in and they had a picture. And it was me and them, and they had a Kit Kat because they know I love Kit Kats. And they were like, Mommy, we love you. And I'm like, you know what? These kids don't give a fuck about a two-parent household. They just want their mama to be happy, no matter what that looks like. Because a happy mom, produces happy kids.
You really do.
Like,
I'm gonna tell you, like when I was growing up, even and I grew up 2-parent household as well, and there were a lot of times that I wish I didn't, because being in a space of not being scared was more important. And I felt like I was always walking on eggshells, especially like high school age and stuff like that, like even before then. But I wouldn't have been mad at my mom if she had decided that the 2-parent household thing is not the most important thing.
exactly.
But they really grew up feeling like if they could make it work, they was gonna make that shit work. And she still loved them enough to stay, but it was hard. And there were times when I felt like even if we had to struggle, maybe at least I would have been at peace a little bit more.
Yes.
And that's what I feel like you're saying. Like, yeah, y'all in a 2-parent household, but it's not peaceful.
Exactly. And that's,
yeah.
for me, that's the priority. Like I was saying when you asked me about my parental household situation, like they got divorced and still felt like we still need to give them a 2-parent household. And it took my mom, like us being this age, for me to tell my mom, like, we would have been okay if, like, whatever you decided, we would have been okay if you just made the choice to be happy.
Yes.
Like, because what you thought was helping was not.
No.
What you thought was helping wasn't. And I don't fault her for it. Like, and maybe I did at some point.
Yeah.
But it's like, I completely understand.
You do the best you can.
You do the best you can. Like, I see my mom vividly at this age, which is why, just introspective, like my mind always just kind of subconsciously goes to different versions of myself and different version of people, because she was like still growing. Like she was still growing. Like I can't imagine and by the time my mom was my age, she had 3 kids. So it's like, going through that at her age, still like trying to figure shit out, like I have so much like more respect and understanding for the shit that she's been through.
Yes.
But also for me, just coming out of that space of not really like being in a space of like, fuck them rules. Like, I don't care what society says to do. I don't care what society says about a 2-parent household. If you have it and it works, great.
But holding on to it for the sake of the look, that's what I'm trying to get everybody to wake up from.
Like, no, like, fuck the aesthetic of it all. Like, something I tell him, like, I would rather, because, it's something that he does, like, try to fight for, and I'm really not in that space right now. Like, because when I wanted it, you ain't fucking want it. And so I need to try and figure me out. I'm not gonna sit here, like, I'm still trying to figure me out. If I would say, like, if I were to break down and say, I'm going to go back right now at this space, like, at this stage in my life, we're going to only be back here in the next 5 to 7 years. Because it's like, you putting the same people in the same situation and expecting different results.
Right.
Like, I have to get to a space where I'm a whole different me. Like, before I could ever even consider trying to reconcile anything over there.
So how are you different now than you were before you had the aha moment?
Boundaries are like huge for me now. Before, it honestly just was whatever he wanted. Like, I had really no sense of self. I'm a recovering people pleaser. So, not even just in that relationship, just relationships across the board. Like, I pride myself on delivering. Like,
Yes.
I pride myself on delivering. If I don't do nothing else, I'm gonna make shit happen.
Okay.
So with that, I became like the dependable friend. I became the dependable spouse. And when people have a person like that, it becomes less about, you know, a courtesy and more of an entitlement. Or Renata's gonna do this. Like,
Right. And they just depend on it, so they feel like they can not do it because you gonna do it.
exactly. And no, the fuck I'm not. Not no
Okay.
more.
Nuh-uh. Reclaiming the time.
Reclaiming the time. So boundaries are big for me now. Like,
I love that though. No, I'm on. Listen, I'm definitely on that with you, especially because for me, boundaries is I don't need to tell you everything. I don't need to ask your permission. I'm just gonna let you know what it is, and you can choose to fuck with it or you cannot.
easy.
Easy peasy.
Easy.
So, what does 50-year-old Renata look like?
Girl. That should not have made me as emotional as it did.
No, it
But
should.
you know what?
It should. I'm gonna tell you
She
why
is
after.
fucking gorgeous.
Yes.
She is gorgeous and she's happy. And she is like living in the seeds that she's sown. Like, she has this beautiful harvest. Like, she's well traveled. Like, she's happy. I see her with a man. She got a good ass man. She got a good ass man. I see her with a man. Um, but she's like really sitting back, just reaping the harvest of the seeds that she's sown. Like, with like water by the tears that she's cried. Like,
Yeah.
that's that's where that's
Use
how
that
I see
pain
her.
to grow something beautiful.
Yes, and she is like living in that. She's living and resting in that.
The reason why I ask is because I feel like when I went on a retreat recently and it was like, what is your most evolved self? What is your highest form of self? And I'd already had a picture of myself as that person, like looking back at me standing on the beach house that I own, which is my dream, and that's where the dream started, the beach house. Now, when I look at the beach house, I see the person that's standing in front of the beach house. And the person, I imagine, is unmovable. That's the word I came up with because I'm a people pleaser, because I allow people to like move me in whatever way emotionally. So the version of myself is independent and has boundaries, but also has people that love her, that she loves, and she enjoys her experiences and her relationships with all of the people that she has them with.
Yes.
Um, and the people who are, close to her, they know that they matter. They know that they are loved and they're valued in that. But that in order to have her, you have to let her be her. And so for me, when I look at myself, I'm like, that's the most evolved version of myself. That's the version of myself I'm trying to get to. And that is a version that I think is reaching back to me now to pull me up to that version.
Absolutely.
So that's why I think it's always important for us to think about that future version of ourselves so we can always remember there is something to be reaching up for this entire time. And if you're not still learning and trying to accomplish something or reaching for something, then you should be dead.
Exactly. Like, there is never a point that you stop learning. Like, I am a forever student.
Yes.
I'm a forever student. Like, if I don't, like, I get a lesson from literally everything. And my kids will, like, they'll always say I'm reaching. Because, like, we were watching Lion King. And I'm like, y'all, I'm going to get a word from something.
Yes.
Like, I'm going to get a word from something. And so we watching, like, Lion King. And, you know, the end where Simba is, like, fighting Scar. And he's, like, coming back. And I'm like, dog, This boy ran away, like from his whole family, his whole existence, because he allowed somebody to make him believe he did some shit.
Right. Guilt.
Right. Like a burden that was never his to even carry.
Nope.
I'm like, motherfucker.
And that's really how it is. Like, you really walk around carrying the guilt or the shame of your environment, the people around you, before you even have a chance to make any real mistakes for yourself.
Exactly. Exactly. So it's like I'm a forever student. Like I'm gonna like learn something from everything. And it's ironic that you asked that because Brittany had an event right here in this space, and the ladies that were here, I did a journal prompt with them. And I asked them, what does a fully bloomed version of you look like? What do you look like fully bloomed? And so, yeah, that really
like
just
that.
kind of brought that question back to my mind.
Yes.
And so, like I said, I'm always very reflective of past versions of myself. But I probably really should focus on who I aspire to be. Like, what does this evolved version of myself look like? Because I know what I owe her, but I know that I need to like plant the seeds so that this woman can have this life that she so rightfully deserves.
Yes. And that's the thing, deserves. Because a lot of us
Deserves.
feel like we don't deserve the good things. And we do.
Yeah.
So, we're going to wrap it up. Thank you so much, B. Cherie Events.
Yes, this
for allowing
space
us
is
to
fire.
come and be in this beautiful space. This is a workspace. You can sign up and come here and work. You can have your podcast, your events here. It's a beautiful space. Shout out to Brittany Ramsey for hooking us up, one of our homegirls from high
Yes.
school. Yes. And tell us about everything that you have going on so people can know where to find you and how they can get in contact with you and just what you have going on.
Girl, so I have my hands in a little bit of everything. So, I host events, moderate events. So if anybody's looking for an event host, fly shit only. Gotta throw that out there, fly shit only. I'm being very intentional about the spaces that I'm choosing to be in. It gotta be in alignment with who I am, with who I'm becoming. So event hosting, event moderating. I am gonna start my platform back. So doing my podcast, really just branding XORanata. I'm also jumping back into my wellness endeavor, which is called Breathe Girl Breathe, and just doing different wellness events, yoga, different things to like keep us moving. So tennis, skating, double. I just want it to all be community initiatives. You know, that's gonna keep us moving, keep our minds right, and really bring awareness to the benefits of breath work.
You know, I love your high yoga class. Yes. I be down to the Magnolia Studio doing.
Oh yes,
high yoga
girl.
So yes.
So y'all can find me on social media, XORanata. That's XORanata. Follow me on Twitter at your own risk, same handle, XORanata.
Yes, because she will share.
Yes,
She will share.
we'll
Okay,
share.
we
Like,
love it.
but yeah, that's me. This was so good.
Thank you for
This
doing
was
this for
so
me.
good. Like, I can't wait to see how this shit evolves.
Me too. And I told you I want to do this again with different people, different topics, but I definitely want to turn it into like an event, like where we actually have like parties after.
I would love that.
Me too. I see it definitely as like a community thing, and us kind of leaning on each other and helping each other and being the next generation of, you know, for lack of a better term, movers and shakers out this motherfucker.
Absolutely.
You know? So yes, thank y'all so much. Make sure y'all follow Renata, XORanata on Instagram and Twitter. It's your girl BondyBlue. I appreciate y'all for checking out the podcast. Follow me on everything BondyBlue. Shout out to Andy, okay? Shout out to my camera guy. My homeboy always comes through
Yes.
for his
What a
information
good,
down
good
below.
setup.
Okay, with a quick good setup.
Yes.
All right? But thank y'all so much, and we'll talk to y'all soon. Peace out.
All right.